Hey everybody, it is Napalm Dawn here on G4G. Today's video about Marvel Avengers Alliance Redux is going to be a little bit different. We're not going to be discussing beta 5.6, which is a closed beta that I have access to. We're not going to be discussing the public beta 5.2, which is what you guys have access to. And this isn't a discussion on beta 6, which is future content. This particular video is strictly me. This isn't Napalm Dawn in service of the project. This isn't Napalm Dawn who has ties to the Redux community, both on the developer side and the art, plot, story, development side, sits on the Discord, admins on Facebook, admins on Reddit. This isn't that Napalm Dawn. This is just simply me. This particular video is unassociated to the project. Nobody knows I'm doing this video other than me, and it is not a reflection of the project. It is not a reflection of any Redux teammates' mental state on this or anything. This is simply me. I am getting extremely tired of seeing the bullshit that has been going on Reddit, in the YouTube comments over here lately, and it's time to call these things out, clarify things, and basically unmuddy the waters that a lot of people lately have been doing. So if you're a fan of the project and you've been nothing but supportive the whole way through, maybe this isn't the video for you. If you are a detractor of the project, if you have been getting angry and upset and impatient lately, if you've been commenting negatively on Facebook or Reddit or on my YouTube comments, then this is the video for you, because this shit is getting called out as I have reached a breaking point for dealing with people who act the way you're going to see people act in this video. So I want to give you guys a quick little piece of background over here so that you have an understanding of the project and what it can and can't do. And this is going to come into play for something we talk about a little bit later in the video. Back in 2019, there was a community appreciation drive for Goofy. If you don't know the name, Goofy Troll is the lead coding developer on the project and essentially the granddaddy of the project here. The project is now very large, where there are people dedicated to coding, people dedicated to sprite work, artwork, story development, bug testing, spec ops, covert ops, the new features called one-shots, character design, all of that. People on the project have their job. I'm not going to say they're siloed, if you know that as a business term, but siloed is kind of an appropriate way of saying it. Goofy works on the backbone code of this game. Other people work on developing Season 3 content, future Spec Ops content, future characters, future PvP seasons. They do not code. There are people on this project that are artists, and that's what they do, is art. There are people who are coders. It used to be Goofy did all this code alone. He now actually has help, which is great. We've switched from Flash to Unity. We had to convert the sprites over by hand for a short period of time from Flash to Unity, but we now have a utility that does it automatically. XMLs were missing for about 9 spec ops that had to be recreated from scratch. So I'm just using this as an example. Say there are 32 spec ops in the original game, and I think that's actually really, really close. Spec ops, as an example, 11 through 18, the XMLs or the backbone code for those spec ops were missing when Goofy got the source code way back in the day. They have to get recreated from scratch. It doesn't exist anywhere. We had people so helpful to the team that they were scouring the cache of their Android phones to see if the mobile version of the XMLs were still available and can be used to help the team. So people like that, we thank you. It is appreciated. To the people who donated to the community appreciation figures back in 2019, you are all gods. So here's what happened back in 2019. About $200 was raised to have somebody create these 4 figures: Symbiote Spider-Man, movie Captain Marvel, Kingpin, and unfortunately a standard Spider-Man who got cut off at the ankles and he didn't quite survive fully. So this person created these figures, they sculpted them, they put them on these bases, they sent them out to somebody in Europe to get painted. They came back to that person, they got final touches, they were sent to me, and then I packaged them to Goofy, and we raised $200 to cover the cost of all of this. I made no money on it, Goofy made no money on it, it was all the painter and the sculptor who did. This was the community saying, thank you, Goofy, for all your work, because no money whatsoever can change hands for this project. We are protected from Disney through a DMCA protection about older dead MMOs. And you can see this with City of Heroes, Marvel Heroes, other games that people have the old source code and are bringing it back. We 100% stand by this methodology that we will not take a dime from anybody. Goofy is never going to turn so much as a penny's profit in all of this. Donations unrelated to the game, like these figures, like Humble Bundle coding bundles, better laptops when people have had spares, those things have happened. But in no way, shape, or form can the Redux project ever make any money. So you'll never see a download behind a paywall. You'll never see a zip file that's password protected unless you pay $10. None of that will ever happen. And fans of the project know this, and this is going to come into play for a comment we're going to talk about in just a little bit. So this was my buddy Arthas that unfortunately passed away in 2020 due to a heart murmur and congestive heart failure, but he was being used for scale here for these figures. So something like this, the project can do, but no money can change hands for it. And that's a big deal for something we're going to talk about. Other people that the project appreciates is somebody had posted on Facebook recently and linked this Instagram artist who you can see is doing really cool Marvel related work, like a Wolverine Carnage hybrid, sort of like almost like a symbiote Punisher. This seems to be an extremely talented artist, and they brought this artist to our attention to see if maybe we wanted to reach out to the Rose Bruce Wayne and say, hey, would you like to do art for the project and everything? These are the kinds of people that we deeply appreciate. People who are like, hey, there's this artist here, maybe they'll do work, or I know code, I know ActionScript, I know Unity, I can help out, can I help the team? These people are who we love. These are helpful people, and they're willing to help. And even at times I know of people in my own life who have done a little bit of work on the project and everything like that. They are the people that we live for. And then here are the people we don't live for. And the people who frustrate the hell out of me, especially when they lie or don't even know what they're talking about. To me, somebody who comes across as arrogant in a slam or condemnation on the project when they don't even understand what the fuck they're talking about, then they're just a clown. And it's now time to call this shit out. And I'm not redacting names. People are going to know who they are. Because if you see comments from them that slip by me and they don't get deleted, or you see them somewhere else like Reddit or Facebook and they don't get caught, You're going to need to know who these people are and how they don't speak from a position of reality, or they're just straight out lying. Prime example, Javier Noguera. He's been in multiple videos over the last few months. He will spam replies to people. He will straight up lie. He will flood multiple videos with nearly the same comment, always broken English, all capitals. Things like, it's a reality. Beta 6 could not be finished. A programmer clarified this for me. I don't wait for it because there is no one is a reality. The beta 6 could not be finished. This is a lie. Javier has not spoken to any developers. I do, routinely. We talk many times a week. They stop by the stream and they see how things are going with beta 5.6, and they see the beta testing and they see the bugs that are being revealed. This person, if you've ever seen his comments, they're straight up lies. This person has not spoken to a programmer, and beta 6 is absolutely still coming and being worked on. Nobody's given up on the game. Beta 6 has not been given up on. If the game was ever abandoned, you would absolutely know it. It would be all over. And if that were the case, I would take my most recent beta, the closed beta 5.6, and I put it up for download and say, okay, well, the game's dead, so here's the last thing that we're working on. Have at it. Have fun. But that's not the case, so I don't have to do that, and it's not going to happen, and this person's a fucking liar. Another comment from Javier Noguera that you can see over here. I tell you that there is no delay. I have already contacted the programmers, and there are many errors with it that can't be finished, so the end of everything, play Marvel Battle of Champions, forget Beta 6. Contest of Champions is so much a fucking different game from Redux, it's not even funny. If you wanted to say play Future Fight, if you wanted to say play Marvel Strike Force, maybe you'd actually have something. But to say go play the Street Fighter version of a Marvel game on mobile, just an absolute fucking moron. So I'm calling out Javier and all the spamming that he does on these videos, all the comments that I've got to delete, because he's a liar. He's an absolute liar. And why do you feel the need to post all capitals rants and spam multiple comments on a video? Who hurt you? How shit is your life right now that you care about this project so much, but then claim you don't care and haunt videos and can't wait to reply to, 6-10 different people with the same bullshit? Now, remember how I said we were talking about how this project can't make any money? No money can change hands for it. And by the way, I wanted to give an example of other fan-made projects where things happen and there are delays. So this left bar that you see on my Discord right now, this is a folder that I throw all of the games into that are rebirth games, games that died and somebody's bringing them back. Here's the Realm project, which is Lawbreakers. League of Anything and the Marvel Heroes server emulator development Discord. These are for Marvel Heroes. And the offshoot that I think is called Marvel Secret Alliance. Battleborn, Nosgoth, Rusty Hearts. These are all games that are being rebirthed by people. Evolve was back for a little while. Darkspore has some people working on trying to bring Darkspore back. Here is the Lawbreaker, the Realm Discord saying, hey, our playtest is getting pushed back to July. Cliffy B, the Cliffy B from Epic, who worked on Unreal Tournament and Jazz Jackrabbit and Lawbreakers and everything, he is actually on this Discord, knows about the project, and has spoken highly of it in the past. People just added him today. Somebody just tried to add Cliffy B over here. So here's a relatively strong project that has good backing, and they're still doing delays. So this is an example of how things happen and things get delayed. And when you don't respect those delays, you get things like Square Enix's and Crystal Dynamics Avengers, which releases in a completely shit state and is bugged, and you can't complete missions until you restart them, and mobs go into walls and become unkillable, or elevators don't work. Would you rather play a complete game and have the patience to wait, or would you rather play a game that was rushed out the door and is non-functional? Because we've seen it with Avengers from Square over there. So here's an example of, hey, be fucking patient. Shit happens. But anyway, back to Prathamesh over here. So Prathamesh, let me talk to you a little bit. Long time later, no ETA. Why don't you guys open a Patreon? There will be thousands who support you, including myself. What I see from all these long-ass videos, first of all, you must have ADD. Because if a 20-25 minute video is a long-ass video and there are videos that take hours. My girlfriend is watching a video that was 4 hours of somebody talking about what it was like to go to the Star Wars Galactic Hotel. Okay? We've watched an hour and a half long video about people giving their opinions on Disney cruise ships and comparing them to Disney cruise ships in the past. If 20-25 minutes is a long-ass video for you, you need to take some ADD meds and maybe cut back on the caffeine a little bit. But all right, let's go. When I see all these long-ass videos that you've done over the last many years, and late you guys are not ready to commit, and as much as I would have liked to keep appreciating what you're doing, to be honest, you were doing nothing but creating long-ass videos, so now he's repeating himself. Maybe he does really need drugs. Talking about things instead of focusing on the release. The only reason you don't have a Patreon for funding this project, is that y'all are afraid of commitment. First of all, unless you live in the American South, don't use y'all. Just fucking atrocious. Secondly, if you have been following my videos for as long as you claim, many years, you would know many, many times it has been brought up that we cannot make money from this project whatsoever. What do you think a Patreon does? Patreon, Venmo, PayPal, GoFundMes, project Kickstarters, all these like code, pay for code sites and everything. If you've been following the project as closely as you claim, then you would absolutely know this is a huge no-no. So you have just fucking clowned yourself, and you're now going to get called out on it. Nobody is afraid of commitment. People have been committed to this game for years. They are putting their blood, sweat, and tears into this. We actually had a member of the story development team, the lead story developer, pass away in the middle of the game's rebirth. The story development team lost their leader in the time that this project has been going on. And you know what? They didn't call it quits. They didn't go, what are we going to do now? They didn't go, our lead person has passed away. Who's going to organize us? Who's going to keep the notes? Who's going to keep everything in sync with each other and make sure we don't have anachronisms and retcons that we do accidentally? No, they picked themselves up. They followed his lead. They looked at the notes that they've been forming for years, stuck to the lead that he set up, and have continued to this day. So when you talk about people who are afraid of commitment, go fuck yourself. Because we lost an important member of this team, and the team is still going. Goofy has had moments in his life where he's had to battle his medical issues that he's been public about, or he's had to sit there and help other family members that are in hospitals, and he's visiting family members on a daily basis that are in a hospital. I just recently had to visit my dad in a hospital for a week straight after going through cancer surgery. And I'm still here doing videos. And when I was at his place 2 hours away, I still was making videos for this in between hospital visits. So if you want to talk about people who are afraid of commitment, how about you fucking commit to taking some meds and getting over the fact that you think a 20-25 minute video is a, quote, long-ass video. Maybe you should take some medication to fix your fucking memory that you can't remember that this has been spoken about in many videos that we cannot take money. So you suggesting a Patreon is fucking clown level at this point. This is a dead MMO that has protections until we cross that border and start trying to charge money for this project. Nobody can take Patreon. Nobody can take direct payments for this. We will never charge a dime for this. And you should know better, but you don't. Because you haven't been paying attention. And, frankly, this is pathetic. And I was more than happy to delete a comment like this and Javier's and everything. But it's now time for this bullshit to be called out because it needs to stop. If you want to be supportive of the project, be supportive. If you're an artist, why don't you talk to somebody like Bridget Rocks on the team? Maybe there's a slot for you in doing art. If you can manipulate sprites, if you can create sprites. The writers team is pretty solid, but if you're any kind of a coder that knows things like C++ and ActionScript, especially Unity, then again, talk to Bridget Rocks. Bridget is the outreach person because we don't want, Goofy being messaged by every Tom, Dick, and Harry out there. And also people need to be vetted because there was somebody who way back in the day tried to take Goofy's code, fork it for himself, and tried to say that they would hire people to work on the game and steal it from Goofy. Well, we shut that person down, but you know what? We remained committed because nobody's fucking afraid of commitment on this team, top to bottom. None of the artists, none of the coders, none of the social media outreach people, none of the video people, none of the translators. Nobody is afraid of commitment because people have stuck with this project until they have literally fucking passed away. So Prathamesh, Javier, people like you who clown the project and down it or are impatient about Beta 6, you can go fuck yourselves and decide to unsubscribe to my channel. And when Beta 6 drops, you won't know about it. So you won't play it. And then, oh well, you'll be stuck on Beta 5.2. So if you want to be nice to the project, go ahead. If you want to down the project, see your ass out the door. Nobody's got time for you anymore.